Hello and welcome back. I'm here with another lecture from organic chemistry. Until now, I only talked about the nucleus, but we know any nucleus is surrounded by electrons. What will happen to the electrons whenever we apply magnetic field? Very soon, those electrons they will start moving, and because they are moving and they are particles that carrying charge, they will have magnetic field. And now it depends whether that magnetic field is aligned with the external field or is opposite of it. We will get different gap between alpha and beta spin states. Okay, and remember, in order to flip and in order to get a technically peak or signal from NMR, we need to flip the spin, and that technically gap is subject to the technically the magnetic field that the nucleus will fill. Okay, the nucleus will fill. Okay, so imagine the black one is the nucleus, and both the left one is the nucleus, right one is red or green in color, any color that you see. Okay. So I wrote shielded on the top of it, and I want to actually talk about the meaning of shielded versus de-shielded. So I'm applying a magnetic field, and that magnetic field, it can come this, for example, direction. Ideally, I expect this one to happen. So because my magnetic field, which I'm going to show it by B0, magnetic field is aligned up. So ideally, I expect all technically particles, the magnetic field of nucleus to be aligned in this direction, where we have the B0, the direction of the external magnetic field that we are applying. Now, I do have electrons that are surrounded the nucleus. Those electrons, they can move, and if they move, it depends which direction. For example, they move, they will have magnetic field. Now, that magnetic field might be in opposite direction of the external field. Okay, so what will happen, and what type of magnetic field would how much from that actual external magnetic field the nucleus will sense? I'm going to call this one magnetic field of electron, and I say the effective magnetic field that the nucleus will feel is going to be equal to the external magnetic field B0 minus whatever the magnetic field of electron will cancel. Now, if this number is really significant, then our nucleus will not feel too much from external magnetic field. Okay, let's put it in put whatever I said in a tiny graph. So ideally, I expect the magnetic field of nucleus to be in this direction. Okay, but because I have a magnetic field for electrons, the overall magnetic field that the nucleus will feel, it will put the spin maybe in this direction. Okay, yes, I expect it to be ideally pointing up. Now, I call this one alpha spin state. And remember, in order to have resonance, we need to change the spin. Right now, this one is pointing up. I want it to be pointing down. And this one, I'm going to call it the beta spin state. Okay, now let's look the gap between alpha and beta. And in order to change the spin, we need to travel this technically distance, or this bond angle between them. Okay, let's compare it with a case that we don't have many electrons. So I have 5 electrons. I'm going to get rid of many of them. And I'm going to leave only one, for example, electron there. Okay, or we can say we have only 2 electrons. Say we have only 2 electrons. Okay, now again, we are applying magnetic field, external magnetic field, and that's going to be the B0. Okay, ideally, I expect to put all the spin state in this direction. And we have electron, it can apply magnetic field, and magnetic field of the electron, it can be in this direction. And at that one, I'm going to call it B of the electron. So what's the effective magnetic field? Effective magnetic field is going to be equal to B0 minus B of the electron. Now, this number this time is going to be really small. Okay, so this number is really low, or I can say this one is low, while the previous one, that number was high. Okay, so what does it mean? It means the effective nuclear charge, the effective magnetic field that the nucleus will feel is going to be high. It's really high, a huge amount. So spin of the nucleus, instead of, for example, let's say showing in this position here, this time it might show there. Okay, so I'm going to draw it somewhere here. I'm going to say, okay, so the spin is there. Where is the beta? Beta should be opposite of it, and the beta is here. So that was the alpha, and this one is beta. So in order to turn alpha to beta, I need to move alpha from that direction, move it down. So almost 180 degrees. Well, the previous one, let's assume this one is, for example, 150 degree. In this case, for sure, this one is going to be higher than 150, or how about maybe 170? Okay, so I need to spend more energy to move the alpha to beta. And in that case, I'm going to say, whenever we don't have many electrons around the nucleus, okay, because all the spins will align with the external field, you will need more energy to resonance the nucleus. So in this case, we need more or higher energy to get resonance. While the previous one, we less energy to get resonance. Okay, and I showed them by here, as you see, I showed them by like different gaps, the delta E. In this case, let's call this one 1 versus the delta E here, call this one 2. Delta E for the second one is going to be higher than delta E of the first one. And that's going to be the meaning of shielded versus deshielded. Whenever you have too many electrons, those electrons, they will apply magnetic field. They will shield or cover the nucleus. I'm the nucleus, surrounded by electrons of hydrogen atoms or anything around me. They will cover me from the radiation, from external magnetic field. So I'm not going to feel the magnetic field a lot. Okay, and in order to do resonance, okay, I need less amount of energy to show technically, to show resonance or to be in resonance situation. But if like there are not many electrons around me, so like the external field, very soon it will diffuse to the nucleus, and my nucleus, it will sense the external field. So my spin will be aligned with the external field. And because it's really well aligned with it, in order to turn it to beta, we need to spend way more energy to get technically resonance. Okay. It says the amount of energy required for hydrogen atom to spin it depends to the environment. Okay. Yes, as you see here, like it depends whether we have too many electrons there or not. That's going to change technically it's the effective magnetic field around the nucleus. Now, as you increase the magnetic field, the external magnetic field, the gap between alpha and beta gets bigger and bigger, and that's going to give you more technically more like a resolution, and that's going to be a good subject, but for another lecture. Okay. Question is, how does NMR work, and how do we get data from NMR? And the way we do it, we have actually a superconductor that is working really low temperature. We shoot radiation to it, and we excited all the atoms, and then we stop the radiation. The atoms get relaxed, and they will give us the energy to us. And the excitation is happening at the same time for all atoms. So that means you're forcing all atoms, all active elements to go through resonance, and they will give us some energy back. And all this is happening at the same time. And now the process of extracting data for each of those signals, we do it through Fourier, like in the Fourier transform, and it's really complicated math calculation that it can extract data for each element that is going through resonance. And this is going to be the end of this lecture, and thank you very much.